Alrighty, everybody, welcome to week 7. We have exam 3 this weekend. So I wanted to really quickly go over what you can expect from exam 3. We're covering chapters 5 and 6, which would be externalities and elasticity. The study plan for this is now available if you go to Student Resources Study Plan Prerequisites. You can see the study plan is now available, and we can see the different sections that are going to be covered. So if we take a look at our textbook, so first we have 5.1, externalities and economic efficiency, discussing, giving our definitions of what is an externality, etc. So you want to make sure that you have the idea of what an externality is, the definition, and how we can identify it on a graph, right? What it looks like on the graph, and what the effect is then on the graph, how we get deadweight loss as a result of the inefficiency. There are there are 3 questions. There are 3 questions in this section on the exam. In 5.2, we have the Coase theorem, which is the idea of how markets might have some self-correcting properties. There's one question here related to understanding the definition of the Coase theorem. All right, so we have in this section the whole argument that Coase makes, but the kind of core part that you'll want to make sure you remember is the Coase theorem itself. If transaction costs are low, private bargaining will result in an efficient solution to the problem of externalities. So you want to know that idea and then understand the basic argument for it that's laid out beforehand in 5.24, etc. So one question on the Coase theorem. Then we have government policies. We have 2 questions from this section that have to do with the definition of command and control versus market-based approaches, like the Coase theorem that we discussed. But this whole chapter is extremely interesting, talking about a whole bunch of different ways that this plays out in the market. Then in 5.4, we have the 4 categories of goods. So you want to know what the different categories are, how we define them, how they work in the market, as well as the idea of common resources is very important for these questions. Again, there are 3 questions there. Then we move on to chapter 6, elasticity. We have 2 questions from 6.1, the elasticity of demand and its measurements. And for this, you'll want to be able to talk about what it means to be elastic versus inelastic. And so that would be in here, right? What is elastic, what is inelastic, as well as how we measure the elasticity of demand, right? So we talk about that in measuring the elasticity of demand. Elasticity in general is sometimes a difficult topic to understand. So you'll want to make sure that you memorize and understand this formula, right? The elasticity is about percentage changes, right, in quantity demand and percentage changes in price. Luckily, we have an example here with the points given to us, and it walks through the calculations. So I want to make sure you understand that as well. Then in determinants, we have another 2 questions. These are related to the idea of, so you want to understand what things affect elasticity, for sure, understand these definitions. In 6.3, we have 2 questions related to this that are calculation questions. So they're asking you to calculate total revenue and how elasticity affects total revenue. So again, you want to make sure you understand how the differing slope, the different elasticities of these two demand curves is affecting the revenue boxes. Then other demand elasticities. We have cross price and income elasticities. Make sure you understand how those work and their definitions. Though you shouldn't need to calculate these, but you definitely want to know why they matter and how we define them. In 6.5, we have 2 questions. These are application questions where we're taking what we just talked about in 6.4 with demand elasticities and applying them to a specific problem. So you want to make sure you can do this sort of analysis of applying elasticity and how it's going to affect family farms or whatever other example is on the exam. Again, 2 questions from this section. And then the price elasticity of supply and its measurement. We have 2 questions from here. These are, of course, very similar to the questions on demand. Sorry if there's scraping and noise. You can hear my cat is climbing all over me. She wants attention. So that's how the exam is going to be broken down. I've already talked about the study plan that you can use to help with your studying. Another awesome resource, however, is John Pino. John Pino is a Niedermeyer Scholar, which means he has taken this exam before and performed well, and he's hired by the business school to provide tutoring for you all. He's an excellent resource. If you are having problems with elasticity, he'll be a great person to help, which I imagine is going to be the sticking point for most of you on this exam, is exactly what elasticity is and exactly how we calculate it, because it can be tricky. So here's his information. I'm going to send this out with the announcement, but he has office hours on Wednesdays and Fridays in the late afternoon, and on Tuesdays and Thursdays he has a review session from 1 to 2 p.m. And all of these sessions that he offers are hybrid, so you can join in person or online. The Zoom link will be in the announcement. And of course, I also offer office hours Wednesday and Thursdays from 11 to 1. So if you have any questions about the midterms that we just had or about the upcoming exam or anything related to the course, please reach out and check in with me. I'd be happy to go through anything you have questions about and help it make it so that you can succeed for this weekend's exam. All right, everybody, have a wonderful afternoon.